Okay, I'm ready to make my bread. This is the Levain that I had last night. I fed it about 12 hours ago. So you could see if I pull it up, it is fermented all the way through. I should have shown you before I banged it and let it drop, but sorry. So I want to make sure that I save some Levain, or if I put all of this Levain into the bread dough, I will be done with my Levain and I'll have to start another one. So you always want to save at least a little bit to continue the life of the Levain. So that's the first thing I'm going to take. The first thing I'm going to take is 5 grams. I'm going to make bread again tomorrow, so I'm taking it now. I will feed it again tonight, and then I'll have enough Levain for tomorrow. So I have 5 grams of Levain, and I'm going to use the same proportions that I do to feed, which is 1 to 2 to 3. So I have 5 grams of Levain, and I need 10 grams of water. And 15 grams of flour. If I use this amount, then when I feed it tonight, and I feed it 12 hours from now, I will use all of this, and I will make just the right amount. So that's 15 grams. So this is my Levain that I'm going to let sit for 12 more hours, feed it again, and make my bread tomorrow. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to put the ingredients in to make my bread. So I need 270 grams of water. You notice I have ice in my water. I really do want to keep this cold. I really want to have plenty of bacterial fermentation, but I want to slow down the yeast a bit. So if you're within a gram or two, that's fine. I'm trying to be pretty exact. So that's 270 grams of water. And now I'm going to put in the Levain. And I'm looking for 140. I have 142. So I shouldn't need to throw anything away. So just a reminder, you can't put all your Levain into the bread or you won't have Levain for another day. So I took out enough to keep it alive first, and then I proceeded with the bread. I'm going to use 370 grams of flour. I'm left-handed, but my left hand is a little soiled from the Levain, so. Okay, 370 grams of flour. And now I'm going to put the salt in, 11 grams of salt. I'd like this salt not to hit the Levain directly, so this is mixing the bread without an autolyse. That is an option. So now I'm just going to use my hand and I'm going to bring everything together. It is, I think, the most efficient, the easiest to try to keep your fingers together and use your hand as a paddle. And I also try to use only one hand. It's pretty neat and effortless. I would like to mix this enough that I can tell that the salt is dissolved and the levain has been mixed thoroughly with the dough. So I push the dough down, notice my fingers are together. I smear the dough against the bowl. I turn it 90 degrees and fold it. It takes very little mixing at this point. It will get much more development during fermentation. So it's going to ferment at room temperature for 6 hours, and the fermentation, the action of the yeast and the folding will significantly strengthen the gluten. So I pinch it every once in a while, cut it in 2 pieces just to make sure that it gets evenly mixed. Again, I smear it against the bowl, then I grab it, fold it over, turn it 90 degrees, and do that again. This is pretty close to mixed. I don't need to develop any gluten, really. Right now I'm trying to evenly hydrate the flour, make sure that my salt is dissolved and I don't feel any salt in there, and make sure that the levain has been evenly incorporated. And that looks pretty good to go. I'm going to take my scraper. If there's any remaining dough on the top, I'll scrape that down. And now I'm going to let it sit for 90 minutes and do a fold. You can see my other videos for a couple different ways to fold the dough. Okay, so that's the levain bread, but don't forget I have my levain starter here, and I'm just going to mix that up real quick. Doesn't take any time. I'm going to let this sit, ferment today, and then I will feed it again tonight so that I have enough levain to make the bread tomorrow. So it's 2 separate steps. Whenever you make sourdough, whenever you make levain, you have to make sure that you always save some of your levain to continue the life. If you throw it all into your bread, that's fine, but then you don't have any levain left to continue. Okay, so that's pretty easy. All I'm doing is mixing it smooth. You can see it cleans the bowl right up. You certainly don't need to use a stainless steel bowl. I just find them the easiest for mixing. And that's it. So I have the levain that I will use. I will feed tonight. I will take all of this levain. It's going to be about 26, 27 grams. And I will feed it 1, 2, 3 proportions. And I will have the levain for tomorrow's bread. And then I have the bread here that I just mixed. And I'm going to now start the fermentation process, 6 hours, folding every 90 minutes and shaping at the end.